Alright guys, today we're going to be doing a build and showcase for Yae Miko. Yae Miko's an interesting character. As the time went on, there's been like more and more like variety in her builds because of like Dendro and all that. Since the beginning, I've just played a DPS build, like a nuke DPS build with her burst, because it's a really fun burst and she's a really fun character to play when you play her like that. Otherwise, you just kind of spam her skill and then you just switch out of her and you don't really use her that much. I find that really boring. She's a really interesting character. She's got great design, cool animations, so I like using her a lot more than not using her. So starting off, we have a 51 over 232. We could use some more crit rate, but then we sacrifice crit damage. It's pretty solid as is. I've been pretty happy with it. And then I believe she ascends with crit rate, so it's not that difficult to get crit rate on her. And then for her weapon, we have her weapon, which is Kaguru's Verity, which comes with a lot of crit damage, and then a boost for her elemental skill damage, which is pretty neat. And then for our artifacts, we're running 2-piece Electro and 2-piece Noblesse for the extra damage to get some real nuke damage. You could also play the 4-piece emblem. I believe that's like the recommended that a lot of people play. No, 4-piece Gilded Dreams. Yeah, I guess she's gotten better as like a Hyper Bloom Dendro team. But like I said, this is how I had her like back in like 2 point whatever when she first came out. But yeah, the reason why I don't use the 4-piece emblem is because you lose out on a little bit of electro damage for her skill. Because sometimes when I use her, I just like having like the skill for the extra damage, and because they can hit some decent numbers in a pretty fast array, and like I would use her in like a Eula team to get like a lot of superconduct. This is before I had Shinobu. So that was my thought process, and I've stuck with it because it's too much to change, and it's been working out pretty well. So show you like the stats. Her artifacts aren't actually that crazy. They're actually like a little bit less than decent, as you can see on all of them. Like her ratios could be insane if I really took the time and like spent like a couple of weeks just like min-maxing. Like I could probably get like 70 over 260 or some crazy numbers like that. But like I said, it was good enough, and it's done its due diligence. Sometimes stressing over stuff like that, it's not worth it. I actually have C1, but you don't really need any constellations for her. But C1, it's nice to have. It just gives you like extra energy. For her talents, I have her maxed out. This is she's too much of a goat character. I have her and Shogun maxed out because they're just the greatest to ever do it. So there's a lot of reading here, so I'm just gonna summarize her elemental skill. Essentially, you can use it 3 times, and you have these 3 little like electric pillars, and when you have multiple of them, there's levels to it because they connect to each other, like local hotspot or something. And then they go up in levels. So when you have all 3 of them out, you have level 4, which is almost double the level 1 damage if you were to have just one out. And yeah, they stay around for 14 seconds, and the cooldown's really fast, and you have 3 charges of it already. So out of the gate, you can just bang, 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 and then have like 3 of them, level 4, and then do what you need to do. That's essentially all it does. And then it just targets like the lowest HP enemy and just like barrages them every so often. And then for her burst, it's really simple. It's just a giant, I almost said thunder, a giant lightning bolt, and then for each one of her skills that you have up, it's another lightning bolt, and they do a lot of damage, and they're AoE. They're great for like we have a bunch of grouped up enemies. You have the initial lightning bolt, and you have 3 additional ones that all hit for a crazy amount of damage. So that's why I have so much invested into her burst. And then for her ascension talents, when you use her burst, when you use her burst, it just resets the cooldown. So if her skill runs out, then when you use her burst and you consume all of those little pillars, it'll reset them all, so then you can just put them back up instantly. And then for every elemental mastery you have, it increases her skill's damage, which isn't that crazy. I don't think it's that like worth it to build. Like obviously if you're doing like hyper bloom, then yeah, it's like that's like everything you're building around, so it's perfectly fine. Other than that, I don't really see a point for like a regular build. So that's what we got going on. And then of course we have Masanori to help us out with the damage showcase. Every time I always forget to tell him goodbye. I always forget to tell him goodbye, and then he tells me all about it again. Alright, so we had a little bit of a botched attempt, and I also forgot to go over the team that I have for her. So we have Kaza for the swirl and the buff, and that's his main thing. He also groups up enemies, which is really good for her burst. But you know, when you're fighting a boss fight, that doesn't really matter. When you're fighting a big group of enemies, it's great for the crowd control. Get them all together, pop her burst, and just take everyone out. And then Kujo Sara to boost her crit damage. It's like the greatest electro support that's ever been conceived. So you know, she works really well with Yae Miko, of course. And then we have Kirara, because she gives us a decent shield, and on top of that, she also does quicken. So we get like an extra like little boost on our electro damage, so our burst can hit for even more, and the little bombs can help out with like certain kinds of enemies. I use her in the Spiral Abyss in a similar team comp, and she works out really well. I just have to max out her skill for a slightly better shield, because I've had her shield at like 7. Yeah, her skill at like 7, and it was a pretty decent shield. So I assume at 10 it's gonna be a little bit better for what I need her to be. So yeah, we're gonna start up with Masanori. And if you guys have any other ideas for how I can play Yae Miko, I'd love to hear it. So as you can see from our skill, yeah, we can hit like some crazy numbers. It was like a 15 or 16, something like that. Quicken. And that missed. So I guess we're gonna have to have a third attempt. Alright, so Masanori was moving around too much. He was making things a little too difficult. So I thought we'd try with the Terror Shroom. Make things easier. Because after you build up his Electro, he starts running around and he's like idle. So yeah, as you can see, our skill's like doing like most of the work already. Alright, so I'm gonna set up our 3 little guys. Kazuha, Sara, skill and burst, Kirara, and then Yae Miko. Yeah, as you can see, it's 4 a.m. and also we didn't even need the full gauge of what she can do. We not only crit on those, and we did we did a lot of damage, and there was just 2 other lightning bolts after that were going to do the same amount. So this build, like I said, is a very strong build, very fun, very easy. I don't traditionally play it with a team this insane. You can use it in like casual senses, like little fun stuff you can try here and there. What's going on down there? 145s. Well, what was he getting attacked by? Who is that? So yeah, that's gonna be my build and showcase for. Oh, he's an idiot. That's why. So that's gonna be my build and showcase for Yae Miko. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you guys run different kinds of teams and all that. Like, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to do all that good stuff. Really helps me out. And thank you guys for watching, and take care. And make sure you check out the next video that pops up. One last thing I forgot to mention. If you are struggling with character builds, you're struggling with playing, grinding domains, fighting bosses, fighting weekly bosses, any kind of issue you have in Genshin Impact, you can actually find me on ePal, and I'll have the link in the description, and you can hire me to personally help you and play with you, give you advice, character building, all that good stuff, and even absolutely carry you in domains and boss fights and whatnot. All that can be found in the description below. There's a link to my ePal. You can make an account, sign up, hire me there, and we can play together if that is what you need. So make sure you guys check that out in the link down below. Thank you again.